What is up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 6, 2019. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. I'm going to give it a second, make sure my audio is doing good. People are getting in the live chat okay. In this video, we're going to talk about two things, mainly one thing, which is Bitcoin buying the dips, especially as it pertains to technical analysis and watching the charts. And I am going to kind of start the video talking about some Cash App news that just came out. I thought interesting, mainly because I was just thinking about this the other day. So before we get into the charts, before we talk about buying Bitcoin and what that looks like, at least what that looks like for me, I want to talk about this. First time Bitcoin buyers doubled in Square's Q3 report. Square processed $148 million in Bitcoin sales in the third quarter of 2019. Any news like that is bullish. Anytime you have people buying Bitcoin on new platforms that are offering Bitcoin, that's always awesome. It continues, though Square's crypto business remains a niche concern for the publicly traded company, more users are turning to Square's Cash App as a gateway to Bitcoin investing, particularly after the company rolled out a new user interface for the app. So I'm pretty sure I tweeted about this before. I really, really like the app. If I'm going to buy Bitcoin, I would rather use Cash App than I would Coinbase. I just like it better. Plus, you can immediately just take it right out of your Cash App account and send it to your wallets very quickly. Coinbase, there's a whole different process. You have to wait days to get your Bitcoin. But there's one thing I want to discuss with this. Square's Bitcoin revenue represents 244% increase year over year, having generated just $43 million in revenue during the third quarter of 2018. However, the company saw $146 million in Bitcoin costs this past quarter, resulting in a profit of only $2 million for the second quarter in a row. Despite the uptick in usage, Square has struggled to generate substantial profits through Bitcoin, raising a scant $832,000 in Q1 and about $2 million in Q2, Q3. Perhaps in response to this, the Cash App recently introduced a new fee structure for Bitcoin purchases, which I have noticed. Square's Cash App now charging fees for Bitcoin purchases. Jack Dorsey may love Bitcoin, but it looks like Square needs a better margin on it regardless. And yes, I've noticed this firsthand, and I was like kind of bummed. Square's Cash App has started charging fees as much as 1.76% on Bitcoin purchases, sources have pointed out to CoinDesk. So good news is more people using Cash App, more people buying Bitcoin. The bad news is the fact that Cash App already doing what I feel like every platform does, just raises their fees. Raises fees up and up. It's all about that profit margin, right? It's really, provide a good user interface. That's awesome. I do like Cash App's user interface, but at the end of the day for them, it's all about the money. So that's that. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about price. Let's talk about buying Bitcoin, what that looks like for me. I'm prepared for Bitcoin to dip to $7,900 to $8,500 Fibonacci support. We'll look at that in a second. This has turned into a heavier accumulation area for me. In my opinion, this would set Bitcoin up for its move to break recent $14,000 swing high, all by end of December. So I tweeted this. This was a few hours ago. This is not long ago at all, earlier today. And it's mainly what I want to talk about. Let's go over to the daily chart and kind of get context to that tweet. So heading over to the daily chart, if I can open this up and my computer speeds up a little bit. Here we go. Fibonacci, there it is, the green rectangle that you see. This is on the daily chart. We had that swing low back in, when was that? That was literally a couple weeks ago. We had a swing low. People were feeling that, right? We've talked a lot about that move, what it meant in terms of patterns we were tracking, namely the symmetrical triangle that you have on the screen right here. And we quickly bounced out of that. One of the best days in Bitcoin's history in terms of percentage gains, quickly bouncing back up. And we've hit resistance at the lower trend line of that symmetrical triangle, right? If you've been watching these technical analysis videos, then you probably are well aware of these patterns we've been tracking. I want to make sure my YouTube's telling me that the video is down. Are you guys, can you see me? Can you hear me? YouTube does this to me. It's telling me we're down. Press 1 if you can hear me okay. And then I will continue. I got a 1. I got some 1s. All right, that's so weird. I don't know why YouTube does that. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate that. So Fibonacci support. And I want to really talk about this because there are some similarities that we can visit that happened in the past historically for Bitcoin, especially as you see this consolidation within this very mini symmetrical triangle we've been tracking. It's a breakout to our longer term Fibonacci support down here, which really is $7,900 to $8,500. Now, if we kind of go to the momentum oscillators, namely the RSI right in the middle of the screen, you can just see the sideways looking momentum in Bitcoin. So here's the thing. This is just me mentally when I'm watching the charts and I'm, trying to figure out what I'm going to do at every move that Bitcoin makes. When we get these types of like holding patterns, right? We're in a very clear pattern, a short-term symmetrical triangle going back to end of October till now. We're at the apex, but we have this sideways momentum on the RSI on the daily chart, which is important to note. I get antsy. I definitely get a little bit antsy. And this is when I really start figuring out and questioning my approach, what I'm going to do in a certain move. So what I know I'm going to do in a move up, if we do get some type of bullish breakout, is nothing. I'm going to relax. I'm going to go on Twitter and I'm going to go enjoy that bullish move with everybody. But I'm really starting to think what I would do in a move down. What am I prepared for, right? Because it's very possible. We're in that overbought area on the stock RSI. We're kind of consolidating right in that overbought area at the bottom of the screen here. The RSI, again, very close to overbought and trading sideways. Momentum is just going sideways, right? So a move down to this key Fibonacci area, right, with a breakout also in that channel out of this triangle would make sense. $7,900 to $8,500. And if I expand my chart a little bit, what you'll see is we kind of had a similar move, right? And this is on a larger scale, but a very similar move for Bitcoin. And that is this. If we go back to the Bitcoin bear market bottom, you can see Bitcoin kind of bottoming out. Everybody remembers the bottom of the bear market, close to $3,000, comes back up, grappling with the 50 moving average and puts in a higher low. This was extremely bullish, right? And then from that higher low, and I'm gonna circle it just so you see what I'm doing here. Here's the higher low that Bitcoin put in probably a month later or so. From that higher low, finally breaking back above the 50 moving average, and then we all know what happened after that. But what's happening here is from that bear market low, Bitcoin put in a higher low right at our Fibonacci retracement channel, the 618 to 786. And this is a move you find so often in terms of Bitcoin supports, especially in terms of higher lows, right? This is probably one right here from this swing low to this swing low, support at the Fibonacci, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. It would make complete sense if Bitcoin on this daily chart, as I expand it, if Bitcoin puts in a higher low from this previous low at the end of October 23rd, and we kind of, and I'm not saying this is going to happen right now, but maybe in the coming days, maybe in the coming week, we come down into this channel. If we see support there, if we come down here, and this is my approach. This is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my approach. That's an area where I'll buy a little Bitcoin, right? I will feel comfortable buying a little Bitcoin. By that point, Bitcoin will have consolidated on these daily momentum oscillators, the RSI, the stock RSI. Absolutely, there's chance for a downside, right? There's chance for Bitcoin to keep going and to put in an actual, lower low below this one. And that would be my heavy accumulation area. My heavy accumulation area is down in the $6,400 area. And a lot of that is based on the fact, number one, Bitcoin would be ridiculously oversold at that point, a great buying opportunity. It's not even, you don't even have to really even do any charting to see that. But number two, I did a video a few weeks ago in terms of mining costs and $6,400 potentially providing a floor for Bitcoin based on mining costs, right? So that is a huge buying opportunity if we get there. But on its way down, truly, I do work my way into accumulating Bitcoin when it's oversold to a condition I'm comfortable with, and I think there's a really clear chance for a bounce off of a support area, and that would be this Fibonacci area, right? So I would be buying a little Bitcoin there, nothing crazy. The higher amounts of Bitcoin that I would accumulate are down here in the 6,000s, closer to that $6,400, $6,500 area. If you go over to the 4-hour, we really get a sense of what's going on. I understand there's like a ton of lines on the screen right now, but like they really all do mean something. I could probably do technical analysis for hours and like really just dive into all of these things, but all of these patterns that you see on the screen are just Bitcoin telling the story in terms of where it's moving to. And each breakout, whether it's to the upside or downside of a trend line, right, gives us a clearer picture, a clear confirmation of what Bitcoin is going to do next, right? And that's why we use these patterns, and we use them especially in context to our Fibonacci retracement. So perfect example is this shorter term symmetrical triangle with a breakout target right into this Fibonacci retracement, right? So that would be the swing low to the swing high back down to our support. So that's a clear example. Now, if you zoom out on the chart, we really get a sense of what we're still tracking. We had this breakout below the lower trend line. We didn't hit a target. We still can hit a target now that we're seeing potential rejection at that lower trend line still. A breakout target for this symmetrical triangle is still in play, and that is down around $6,400, that area that we just talked about. That is still in play. That's a huge buy zone. I will gladly tweet that I'm buying very heavily if Bitcoin is at the lower 6,000s. Will we get there? We keep tracking Bitcoin and we will see. This is a clear area of support on the downside, 8,500 to 7,900. Now, besides that, we do still have in play a breakout to the upside where we're basically shattering this symmetrical triangle, right? And this is the large triangle I'm talking about. And if we shatter that, if we break that lower trend line, then we'd have a busted symmetrical triangle in play. And if we have a busted symmetrical triangle in play, if all of that happens, that would be pretty much the absolute most bullish thing that Bitcoin could do right now. So those are some of the things that I'm kind of watching out for, especially in a bullish environment. But yes, the last pattern that you do see on the screen is kind of this falling wedge, which isn't even really truly charted on the screen, but it's there. And that is the upper trend line right here, right? We can extend that symmetrical triangle we were tracking. We have an upper trend line. We're literally trading at the top of that upper trend line right now in an overbought condition. So yes, there's an extreme chance that we're going to come back down and consolidate, maybe in the middle of this pattern, this very large falling wedge, maybe at the bottom, right? Maybe towards the 6,000s down here. But that's something to consider. It's something to be ready for. These are all things, right? This is all just technical data that you can take and you can be like, wow, there's very real potential for these reasons, which the data suggests where there is room for downside for Bitcoin. But the only thing that means to me is the fact that there's buying opportunity. So I really wanted to talk about that and discuss it. This is kind of my plan for accumulating more Bitcoin. I buy the dips. That is my approach. And what that would look like is, some nice buying in this area and some very heavy buying down in that area. Amazing opportunity if it comes. Somebody asked, how do I accumulate Bitcoin? How do I always buy dips? And, a lot of it is just working extremely hard, building my recruiting firm, trying to create that revenue, everybody, just like all of you. I mean, I'm working hard so that I can buy and invest into my future, and that is buying the dips of Bitcoin. So that's what that looks like for me. Jim Flanagan with a $10 super chat. What's up, dude? I appreciate it, man. Love you, Dan. Hope all is well in your new place. Say hi to Sarah for me. Miss you guys. Dude, appreciate it, Jim. I see you hustling on Twitter too, man. I see you and DRX doing work. I appreciate it. I will tell Sarah that you said hi when I see her. So those are my thoughts. Obviously, we're talking kind of about a downturn, potential downturn for Bitcoin in this video, and that's simply because that's when I take action, right? That's kind of what I'm waiting for. It's why I track and do technical analysis. Everybody, I got to do another video on this. I think it's time. I haven't done a video. I'm not going to do it now, but this is that long-term chart that I posted back in December, I believe mid-December 2018. Bitcoin trading at like literally its bottom. It was like $3,100 when I charted this. You see it on the screen. And it looks beautiful. It looked beautiful back then. It truly did. But it looks even better when you zoom out, when you close that, and you look at the live charts. And here's the live chart. Wouldn't you say that we're pretty much on pace for what I charted back in December? So here's where I think it was December 17th. It was literally at the bottom. I charted that. Look at Bitcoin on its trajectory to what I charted. I want to dig into this chart. I'm going to do a video on it. And I stand by what this chart says. It's like a $90,000, $100,000 Bitcoin by 2021, I believe, end of 2021. You see it up there. I stand by that. If nothing more, right now, Bitcoin's trying to put in a higher low from the bear market bottom, and this is what we track on this channel. So we'll see what happens. Everybody, I have to get back, do some work. I wanted to do a technical analysis for everybody. It's on my mind. Buying is on my mind. I'm ready to buy the dip if it happens. Will it happen? I don't know, but that's what it looks like on the screen. That's what it will look like on the screen. Be ready for it is all I will say. Appreciate all of you hanging out with me. It's a weird time, 5:22 Eastern. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. And as always, I will see you in the next video. God bless.